very good afternoon to our cherished listeners. Once again, it's always exciting to come your way every Wednesday with your favorite business development program on Radio Masterclass. Masterclass is powered by Joy Business and brought to you by Airtel Tigo. Airtel Tigo Business, they say making your business simple, and also brought to you by GOIL. They say good energy, GOIL, Yenara, Yendia. Today is the 8th of May. May is the 5th month of the year, and gradually the year is going on and on and on and on, and we are in the 5th month of the year. Like we always say here on the show when we start, we say that if you have not started a business yet, we encourage you to start. It's better to start late than never to start. And if you have already started, we say keep growing, keep building your business, keep building equity, diversify to be at par with emerging trends. By all means, new trends are coming up. Be at par with emerging trends so that you can stay relevant. Our prayer, as has always been on the show, is that God bless our homeland Ghana and definitely make our nation great and strong. On this note, we welcome all of you, our cherished listeners, to this week's edition of Masterclass. Masterclass runs every Wednesday at 1:15 p.m. and runs all the way through to 2 p.m. here on your superstation Joy 99.7. My name, as always, is Yabanafo, and I am your host for the show. In the last couple of weeks, we have been discussing health and safety at the workplace. Rather interesting discussion. We've had different views, different contributions, different opinions, and we find that this is a rather sensitive, if you like, discussion because it's very important or dear to the hearts of employers for the right reasons, and it's also very important to employees, again, for the right reasons. And most employees complain about the work conditions. We've been spending time talking about the ergonomics of our workspace, the efficiency. When we say ergonomics, we're talking about space efficiency. Do you have enough space? Do you have enough leg room? Does your feet hang when you sit on your chair at work? Is your chair adjustable? Are you able to move the arms up and down? Are you able to move the height, adjust the height so that you're comfortable? Are you able to rest your arms when you sit? Do your feet hang? All those are questions we ask. Are there too many people in your workspace? Are you cramped? Is there a window? Do you have sunlight? Is there enough lighting in the room? All these are questions that we ask because we want to be able to make sure that we avoid sicknesses, diseases, absenteeism, and all of that. Last week, we spent time here in the studio with David Noy, who is an HSC specialist, and he spent time talking to us about the position of the law and the rights of an employee and the duties of an employee and vice versa, concerning our work ergonomics. Today we continue that discussion, and I'm excited to have back in the studio with us Dr. Na Ashele-Dodo, CEO of Nova Wellness Center. Doc, you're welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much.
Right. So today we're going to be focusing on a rather interesting aspect of health and safety. We will be looking at first aid. First aid. When I was preparing for this discussion, I thought first aid, if we're able to exhaust the discussion regarding the workspace, perhaps we can stretch it just a little bit to first aid generally. Because I find, and you correct me, Doc, you are in the medical field, that the difference between whether or not a person lives is the intervention that takes place within the first few minutes of any incident.
That's correct.
So for example, if somebody was going to have a heart attack, how do they know they're having a heart attack? What are the symptoms? If somebody hit their head and they fell, what is to be done? If somebody started bleeding through their nose suddenly, if somebody said, I have a headache, there's a million reasons why, there's this little joke. I'll just tell this joke quickly. So somebody goes to a hospital once and then they're talking to a doctor or let's say a general practitioner. Mm-hmm. And as they're telling the person what's wrong with them or the symptoms, the person is typing in Google and they're like, and I was talking to that guy who was typing away in Google.
Exactly.
I should have sat at home and asked Google myself.
Right.
The point I'm making is that your symptoms do not necessarily clearly tell what's wrong with you.
They don't.
And so it's important to have information because there could be a million symptoms that represent
so
a million
things.
Different conditions. So I'll just share with us just a little brief history on first aid I managed to gather with our listeners, and then we'll go straight to that discussion on first aid. So in 1870, there was I got this from Wikipedia, so that's my source. I'm just declaring it so that I don't get charged for plagiarism. So in 1870, there was a Prussian military surgeon by name Friedrich von Esmarch, and he first coined the term Erste Hilfe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well, but it's Prussian. I don't speak Prussian. Translated into English, it means first aid. So he introduced this when he was training soldiers in the Franco-Prussian War, essentially to help soldiers to be able to provide immediate care for the wounded soldiers during the war. Also in 1882, the Saint Andrew, who is also the patron saint of Scotland and also the patron saint of Greece and Russia, and as well as other countries, also established the first aid organization in Scotland. And again, the purpose of this was to help to deal with people who were wounded during the war and after the war and all of that. So that's just a little history about where first aid came from. All the way in the 1800s, first aid started. Today we talk about first aid. When you talk about first aid in the offices, first thing that people think about is there a first aid box? Okay, so people will typically go to HR or admin, to find out, I need help. Somebody has a headache and they go to HR. The question is, does HR even know? Are they qualified to administer medication? Some medication are prescribed medication. So HR will buy all of these drugs and everything, and somebody has a headache, somebody has a stomachache, it's Imodium. Somebody has a headache, it's Panadol. We want to be able to understand. For our business owners, do they put first aid in there? What is first aid? Let's help them understand that concept first.
All right.
And then we can begin to pick on some of the things that require the intervention of first aid.
All right, sounds good.
Right.
So first aid is the initial help which is given to a sick or injured person before they get to a hospital or they get full medical treatment. Okay, so that's the first few minutes after the injury or the sickness is noticed. So the purpose of first aid is to preserve life, prevent deterioration, and then promote recovery. So
Right.
these are the we call them the 3 Ps. You want to preserve life, you want to prevent the situation from getting worse, and then you also want to promote recovery. Okay, so when we do first aid, this is what our goal should be: not to heal the person and not to make the situation worse. That's also something that can happen if you are not very sure of what you're doing. If you're not careful, you can make the person's condition even worse. So a few common injuries that can happen in the workplace: we have burns, fires happen, we have cuts, we have sprains and strains as well that can happen. But today I want to focus a lot more on heart attacks. Okay, heart attacks, according to the research, every 43 seconds somebody gets a heart attack, and heart disease is the #1 killer disease in the world today. So every 43 seconds somebody is getting a heart attack somewhere. So that statistic is very, very important, and that's why I want us to spend a little bit of time to talk about heart attacks so that we can see how best we can prevent these from happening. So what is a heart attack? Now, a heart attack happens when there's reduced blood flow to the heart, or absolute stopping of blood flow to the heart. As you know, the heart's function is to pump blood around the body. Okay, so there are a lot of arteries and veins that go into and out of the heart as that circulation of blood takes place. So if for whatever reason there could be a clot, there could be buildup of cholesterol, fats in your arteries, so that blood flow is interrupted. So when that happens and the blood cannot reach the heart, the heart is a muscle actually. So if that muscle cannot work to be able to pump more blood out, eventually the muscle starts to die. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? So if the heart is not getting the blood flow, which has oxygen, then eventually after a period of time, the heart just decides to stop, or the function of the heart is reduced. And that is what we call a heart attack, okay? And there are certain things that may be signs, but like you rightly said, sometimes there are absolutely no signs. Actually, most people will tell you that the the biggest or the most common symptom of a heart attack is no symptom at all. So, in other words, you have no idea, you didn't have a headache, you didn't have chest pain, and then the first symptom is that you actually have a heart attack. Okay, now, so that happens. However, according to the American Heart Association, most people actually do have signs, but they may not take it seriously. They ignore it. They think it's one of those things. They delay going to the hospital to get it checked out until it becomes a bigger problem. But usually, there are some signs that could prompt you that there could be a possible heart attack ensuing. So, some of the signs we've all seen on movies when people hold their chest and then they fall and they are in pain, they can't even speak. Yes, so they explain a type of a tightness or pressure in the chest area. Sometimes that tightness may radiate the pain into the arm, the neck, the jaw. Some people get nauseated, so all of a sudden, from nowhere, you feel like throwing up. Sometimes you feel like going to the bathroom, you feel you have indigestion, heartburns, shortness of breath. You feel like you're losing your breath. Fatigue, extreme tiredness, sudden dizziness or lightheadedness. So these are some common symptoms. But again, I also have to say that it doesn't mean that anytime you have these symptoms, it means you're getting a heart attack. I don't want people to get paranoid this afternoon. But these symptoms, if you are noticing them frequently or you realize that it comes and goes, then it's something that you have to go and seek professional medical help for, because it is possible. We're not saying 100% of the time, but it is possible it could be leading into a heart attack. And like I said, yes, there are heart attacks that come suddenly. We even know of athletes who have had heart attacks. So somebody would ask, oh, but they were working out, they were exercising, they eat well. Why would they get a heart attack? There are different things that cause these problems to happen. So it's not only quote unquote unhealthy looking people that get heart attacks. Everybody is prone to a heart attack. So when you're having these symptoms, it is very, very, very important to get it checked. There are certain risk factors that will make you more prone to getting a heart attack. So I want to go through some of those as well so that we can see how best we can reduce those risk factors. Research is saying anybody 45 and up, but these days we hear of people who are so much younger who are also getting heart attacks. So the age, research says 45 and after. Women are more commonly, women get these heart attacks more commonly than men. And then we also have risk factors like hypertension. So if your blood pressure is not being controlled well, you are at a higher risk for getting a heart attack. If you have high blood pressure and you also have high cholesterol, you also have diabetes, you are obese, that also makes you more prone, or that's also a risk factor. So having all of these, obviously we call it metabolic syndrome, having the hypertension, the high cholesterol, obesity, diabetes, having all of them together puts you at a very, very high risk of heart attacks. Then being sedentary or not doing a lot of physical activity, you don't exercise, your work involves a lot of sitting and you don't do anything else, you don't walk around, that also puts you at a higher risk, because like I said, your heart is a muscle. So just as you have to work out your arms, your biceps, your thighs, all your body's muscles, in the same way, you have to work out that heart muscle. And you do that when you do some exercise or some physical activity. Uncontrolled stress. And that's a very big one, okay? So you have stress and you are not managing it. Of course, all of us have stress. Everybody, even the highest man in office, even though you think he has a lot of luxuries at his um, on his hands, but still very, very high stress levels. So if you are not able to manage it, that can also put you at risk for heart attacks. Then certain autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis can also put you at a higher risk. So what do you do when you see these signs? Like we see on the TV, people holding their chest. Let's say you're in an office space and you see your colleague is not feeling very well. What are some of the simple things? And a lot of the times we think that maybe only first responders, so the emergency responders, only them are professional or are able to provide first aid. No. The likelihood of your colleague or your friend or whoever is in your environment surviving a heart attack depends on you, what you're going to do within the first few minutes. They say that if response is given within the first 4 minutes of a heart attack, that victim has double the chance of recovering. So if you are able to give good or effective first aid to somebody getting a heart attack within the first 4 minutes, then the person has double the chance of recovering. So it doesn't mean you have to now leave the person and go and call somebody, but what you are able to do is what matters. So if you see somebody is in distress, they look uncomfortable, first of all, you want to get them in a sitting position. They can lean their backs on a wall, or if they're sitting on the floor, that'll be better to avoid falling down, because that could also bring other complications. So immediately you see that somebody is looking distressed, if you can, put them on the floor so that you avoid the risk of them falling down. Now, once they are in sitting position, then you want to try and keep them calm, make sure they can understand you, keep them in a bit of a conversation as much as it is possible. If they lose consciousness, then that's when the problems begin. Once they lose consciousness, then you want to check, are they breathing or are they not breathing? Okay, a lot of the times we talk about CPR. So that's the cardiopulmonary resuscitation. You go into CPR only when the person is not breathing. So that means the heart has stopped. So it's not as soon as you see somebody's on the floor, then you want to start doing CPR. No. So you have to check, are they breathing? And you can just look at their chest to see if you can find some movement there. Is the chest going up and down? Or you can check their pulse very simply to see if there's any movement there at all. If there's no breathing, then you go into CPR. If there's breathing but they've lost consciousness, that is when you want to put them in what we call the recovery position. So you lay them on their side, tilt their head backwards so that their airway remains open. That's also very important, because if you compromise them, you can actually cause further problems. So the recovery position is key. Put them on their side, tilt their head backwards to prevent their tongue from choking them pretty much. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can do, especially within the first 4 minutes. If you have a defibrillator, then you actually have 10 minutes. You have even more time if you have a defibrillator. So then you can go into that mode, put it up, and then help them. In the Western world, where you have emergency services that are very effective, you can call whether it's 999 or 911, and they can be there within 2-3 minutes. Excellent. You get somebody to make that call, and then you continue to provide your CPR. So where you don't have that service, if you can, get somebody to help you do the CPR whilst you arrange a vehicle or whatever it is to get the person to the nearest hospital, then that's what you have to do. Now, as bad as heart attacks are, how do we prevent them from happening in the first place? So that's the most important part of my presentation today. So the biggest thing is lifestyle factors. lifestyle. Okay, so all the research is showing that what we do in our daily lives, our environment, are the things that bring us closer to getting heart attacks. So, what are you eating? Are you exercising? How well are you managing your stress? So, I mentioned already that cholesterol buildup alone is one of the things that causes heart attacks, because the cholesterol becomes a plaque in the artery, and eventually, if it pulls away, it becomes a clot, and then that brings about the interrupted flow of blood and all that. So, how do you minimize fats and oils and cholesterol from your diet? That is one way, especially in our part of the world where our food is very, very starch concentrated, a lot of oils in our foods. We really, 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 really have to minimize that to reduce the risk of getting high cholesterol. And then exercise. How much are you moving around? You know, they are saying that even if you work out, let's say 3 times a week, but when you go to the office, you just sit all day, it still puts you at risk. So that 30 minutes 3 times a week is obviously not enough, because your body needs to move all the time. Then we also have stress management. Stress management. If you are not managing the work, the busy schedules, and you are just dumped, and you are swamped, and you don't figure out a way to have a balance so that you're resting, you're taking time off, and your stress levels are all the way up there, then your whole body is like on fire all the time. You are in sympathetic mode. Then again, that pressure on your heart is too much, because as you run, for instance, you realize that your heart beats faster. So in the same way, if you're so stressed, your heart is still going, and if you never take the time off to rest and you don't manage the stress, then these also can lead to heart attacks.
Wow. If you just tuned in, this is Masterclass here on your Superstation. We're spending time in the studio with Dr. Na Ashale Dodo, CEO of Nova Wellness Center. In our series on health and safety at the workplace, today we talk about first aid, and we're focusing on heart attacks in the workplace and, of course, outside of the workplace. So much information has been shared. Just remind you that our show today is brought to us by Airtel Tigo Business. They say making your business simple, and it's also brought to us by GOIL. They say GOIL, they say good energy, GOIL, Yanara, Yendia. We'll be opening the phone line shortly, but ahead of that, you can send us a comment on our WhatsApp line. That's 0244340437. That's 0244340437. We will be opening the phone line shortly, but you can send us a comment ahead of that, and by all means do share. Doc, you've spoken about so many things: CPR, defibrillator. If you have one, you got 10 minutes. If you don't have one, and we're going to talk about a defibrillator shortly. But myth or truth? Very quick question: does drinking warm water after meals help declog one's arteries? Naturally, people would love to have a cold drink or a cold glass of water. Temperatures in this week alone have been through the roof. I think on Monday I was somewhere in the middle of Accra. If I'm not exaggerating, I think my thermometer read 41 degrees. And it's humid, so it makes it even more uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
People would love to drink a glass of cold water just to, help cool themselves. But after a pot of fufu at my favorite choba, a lot of oil in there, clogging my arteries and all of that. We see that the Chinese drink a lot of tea after they eat.
Mm-hmm.
Is that helpful as a lifestyle adoption?
So yes, having a warm drink like tea is said to aid in the digestion of the food that you just consumed. So yes,
it is helpful in some way.
It is helpful in some way. Reverse drinking cold water, cold drinks.
Mm-hmm.
You see, your body has a certain temperature. A normal temperature is about 36 degrees Celsius. So when you put in, let's say, 0 degrees Celsius or something even colder, obviously that environment, your body's environment is not ready to take up that change in temperature. So yes, that can slow down some of the processes that are going on in the system, like digestion and things like that. So, yes, I don't recommend that you drink cold water during eating or right after, because that can mess up with the digestive enzymes that have to be released so that the food is broken down. You've eaten fats. I mean, think about it. If you eaten your fufu and palm nut soup and your hands get oily, even when you use regular room temperature water to wash your hands, you realize that the oil, it's like it's sticky, it's almost, it hardens until you use a bit warmer water, then the oil kind of washes away. Yes. So in the same vein, that's exactly what is happening inside our bodies after we've eaten something really oily, and then you put that cold water or drink on top of it. Things like that could be very well happening.
We'll be talking a lot more about that, but we want to take a quick message from our sponsors. Once we come back, we open the phone lines so that our listeners can be a part of this discussion. We take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Move on up, 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 up. Moving on up is paying from your phone and getting looks of approval from your friends. Moving on up is doing all your banking from your bathroom like a boss. Moving on up is losing your wallet, but your money is still safe. Moving on up is attaching any bank's card to the EcoBank mobile app. Oh yeah, download the EcoBank mobile app. Make we go and bank like a boss.
Move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Click, send, download, server down, upload, buzz, buffer, Wi-Fi down, print, ping, call, connection lost, video call, vibrate, transfer, call, share, receive. That's the sound of the pace of business today. Airtel Tigo Business provides you with a full suite of flexible mobile plans, value-added services, and reliable fixed services for the startups, SMEs, and corporate businesses, so you can adapt, develop, expand, and progress. Contact us today at business@airteltigo.com.gh so we can help your business evolve. Airtel Tigo Business, making business simple.
The masterclass is in session, and you can interact with us via Facebook at Joy Business or at Joy 99.7 FM. And if you tweet, the handle is at Joy 997 FM. Don't forget to hashtag masterclass. You can also send us a text on 1422 across all networks, or join the WhatsApp conversation on 0244 340437, and our facilitators will address your concerns. Attention everyone, class is in progress.
Right, if you just tuned in, this is Masterclass on your Superstation. So is your business at that stage where your old communication methods just don't work anymore? Do you need business communication solutions that can help you move your business seamlessly from one phase to the other? Then you need Airtel Tigo Business. Airtel Tigo Business is here to help your business adapt to the ever-changing environment with total communication solutions. You have the flexibility to choose from a wide variety of communication services to suit your specific needs at every stage of your business. Talk to Airtel Tigo today on 0577 999988. That's 0577 999988, and let them help your business evolve. Airtel Tigo Business, they say, making your business simple. Goyle's new Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 loops are the best engine oils for your vehicle. These are specially engineered engine oils which efficiently work on all modern petrol and diesel engines. They clean, they protect, they reduce fuel consumption, and they also prolong oil change intervals, as well as enhancing your engine's performance right from when you start up until you switch off. Go to any Goyle filling station today and grab the new Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 engine oils for superior vehicle performance. Goyle, they say good energy. Goyle, Yenara, Yendia. So we want to open the phone lines straight away and invite our listeners to be a part of the discussion. Numbers to call 0302-216-541. That's 0302-216-541. We're discussing heart attacks, symptoms, lifestyle changes. We're discussing that under the umbrella of health and safety at the workplace. Pick up the phone, give us a call. You're an employer. What are some of the things you have done in your workplace for your employers to help make sure that you reduce the incidence of first aid requirements? If you're an employee, what do you know about first aid? Have you been trained? Because like we said, the first 4 minutes of an incident can determine whether the person will live or not, depending on what you do. normally as Ghanaians, we want to help people, but sometimes your wish to help without the right information may actually be detrimental to the person's health. So, we always say, there was a phrase you used, Doctor, the what position? The
recovery position.
Recovery position. Do you know what the recovery position is? When someone is unconscious, when someone is choking, when someone is no longer breathing, what is a recovery position? These are things that we want to learn together. I've got a comment on social media from Ajiman Joseph. Good afternoon to you, Ajiman Joseph, from Community 9 in Tema. He says, please ask your guest for me, is it necessary for employers to be checking the blood pressure of their employees periodically? Okay, so that's Ajiman Joseph's question. He wants to know whether employers should be checking. I suppose the first responsibility is yours, isn't it?
Yes, I mean you can't wait for your employer to come and check your blood pressure for you. So there are a few things you want to look out for. I mean, if you have been diagnosed of high blood pressure and you are on medication, for instance, then you know that at least once a month you want to check your own blood pressure. If you can get a monitor at home, then you can do your own check-in. Otherwise, you could go to a nearby pharmacy or hospital and just say, hey, you want to check your blood pressure. I don't want people to leave their health in the hands of their employers, because they also have things to do. They also have their own health to take care of.
Yeah, so we're saying that, Ajima, no one can care about you better than you. So, yes, we encourage employers when they can to, by all means, organize some health checks for your staff.
Right.
But the first responsibility is you. I've got a caller on the line. Let's talk to the person. Good afternoon. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, your name, where you're calling from?
I'm Fred from Trade Fair.
Talk to me, Fred.
Yeah. You are doing well. Apart from having some sort of problem with Joy FM, I think you people are doing well with your health education. Yeah.
Thank you, Fred.
Just currently at Ridge Hospital. My mom has been admitted since yesterday.
We are sorry to
I'm even heading towards to Lancet to have some BUE, lipid profile, and others to be done, the lab. So I'm on my way. I just entered into my car and I think the program just started.
Right.
Yeah. Dr.
Dodo.
No, not the woman there.
Oh, right.
Dr. William Ankuba, Sunday, who is the specialist for this asthmatic something? My mom is asthmatic patient, diabetic, and hypertension.
Right.
Yeah. She was being admitted because of the asthma attack. It's serious. I think with all the medications, still is not coming down. That was the reason they admitted her yesterday. So I was at Dr. Ankuba's and the Monday. Because he was being interviewed on Joe FM on Sunday, and the question was being asked that can a person taking cold water? Is cold water good? What the answer he gave. So I'm confused now with this current doctor whom we are interviewing now. Is contradicting.
Okay.
Because what Dr. Akroba said was, he's been drinking, he never come across with a problem drinking cold water and all that. You understand my point? Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So with what the doctor now is saying now, I think it's completing something for me.
Okay, so what we'll do is that we'll just try and clarify for you. Is that okay?
I think I'll be very much happy.
Yes, by all means. Thank you so much. So by all means, do keep listening. He just wants a clarification about this cold water thing. So let's write down his question. I've got another caller on the line. We'll answer them both. Good afternoon. You're welcome to Masterclass.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Your name, where you're calling from?
Yeah, my name is Joe. I'm calling from Turu.
Talk to me, Joe.
Listener.
Talk to me, Joe.
I want to find out from the medical person if there's a daily medicine that we can, she can prescribe for us to, maybe once in a day, there's a medicine to prevent those heart attack and other things.
Okay, all right. Please keep listening. Doc, Joe wants to know, is there a drug, a medicine, or a prescription that you can give once a day for... I mean, I would have said yes, it's exercise. Exercise and good lifestyle. So, Joe, eat healthy, do a lot of exercise, don't sit for too long, do all the right things. You don't have to take medicine to be healthy. we only take medicine when it gets really bad, and then we have to help it, right? But I'm not the doctor. You're the doctor, so
yes, I would say the same. It would be better for you to take the necessary steps to prevent the problem from happening in the first place, so that you don't have to depend on medication. However, after the problem has gotten worse, sometimes your medical doctor, especially if blood pressure is not being controlled and there's heart failure or symptoms of heart failure, then sometimes the doctor would prescribe like a 1-a-day aspirin. That happens. Or if they feel like you are at high risk, they may tell you to always have an aspirin at hand, so that in the unfortunate heart attack surgeons, then you could use that aspirin or whatever medication to help.
But I suppose we could also tell Joe that, Joe, first thing you need to do, go see your doctor and do a thorough health check of all your entire body. So all your systems, your lipid profile, blood, everything. Just have them do a thorough check. Then your doctor can tell you the current status of your health. Then depending on what is right or not, he can then begin to recommend. But exercise, good living, good eating is always the best.
You can't depend on any medication to make you better.
It's not the first recommendation.
No.
Okay, so I've got another one on social media. You didn't add your name. This one says, I have a neck pain. Is it a symptom of a heart attack? I also have jaw pains. Are they symptoms of heart attack?
Okay. So, like I said earlier on, the symptoms, it's not 100% of the time that when you have these symptoms, it means that there's a heart attack coming on. Neck pain is common. It could be from so many different things. It could be from bad posture. It could be from not sleeping well. It could be from stress, and not necessarily mean that you're about to get a heart attack. Same as jaw pain and things like that. However, if these symptoms are not resolving or they are not going away, then the best thing you have to do, or quickly you have to go and report it to your medical doctor so that they can run tests. There's so many tests that can verify. Be done to see if you are about to get a heart attack.
So our recommendation to you, go see your doctor, let them check you out, and then you can make a concrete diagnosis. Isn't that the case? I've got another one here. This one says, Alfred, first aid tutor. Says, good afternoon, good discussion. One other way to check for the signs of life is to look for the movement in the lips. You can also check the finger and toenails. Also note that the first is without medication, so no drug whatsoever in the first aid box. Okay, so this is Alfred sharing his experience. I suppose he's referring to when the person is unconscious.
Right.
So apart from checking for whether or not they're breathing, Alfred says that you can also check for movement in the lips, and you can check the fingernails. And I don't know what you'll be looking for in the fingernails and toes. Maybe Alfred.
If there's some coloration.
Coloration.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And it says that there should be no medication or drug in the first aid box.
Okay.
Right. We've run out of time, but very quickly, let's talk about provisions of first aid within the office. What should be in a first aid box?
Okay.
And who should administer it?
All right. So, yes, every company needs to have a first aid box, and there are different types. However, depending on how much you want to spend, you can decide. So rubbing alcohol, things like Band-Aid, things like scissors, splints for fractured or dislocated limbs, shoulders, arms, plasters, gloves, obviously, and then a defibrillator if you can afford one.
In 30 seconds, what's it's a big word, defibrillator. What's that?
So it's a machine. Your heart has an electrical system. So when you're getting a heart attack, for instance, obviously that system is not working very well anymore. So if you have a defibrillator, it comes with certain parts and is connected to a device, and the whole idea is to enhance that electrical activity of the heart again to restore that rhythm. Your heart has certain rhythms.
So essentially,
in there.
we deliver shock to the body.
So you deliver that shock to help the heart to come up alive again.
Is it the one that they wrap together in movies and they'll say Claire?
Yes, exactly. And then you see the person just kind of jump up.
Okay,
Yes. So again, there are different types. They're very expensive ones. But if you have a company, you have a lot of people, you can get a defibrillator. Or you can also have somebody come train your employees on how to do CPR.
Doctor, in 30 seconds, I've got another one on social media. It says, I sometimes get tightness of my chest, like I'm getting pneumonia. Is it a warning of a heart attack? This is Alfred.
Okay, so I would say to Alfred, as soon as possible, please do go and report this to your medical doctor.
Okay, right. There's so much we need to talk about. I'm hoping that we can continue this discussion next week. But we've been talking about first aid at the workplace. I wish we could do this, but I'm sure we're going to have to do this. What's a takeout from today's discussion? We definitely will continue this next week, but takeout for today.
So for today, I would say that your life is on your own hands. To prevent heart attacks from happening, you want to look at your diet. Eat less fats and oils, or eat healthy fats. We didn't even talk about healthy fats, but like you said, we'll continue that conversation. Exercise. 150 minutes of exercise a week is what we recommend. And then try and find ways to manage your stress better. And these things will go a long way to help you reduce the risk of getting heart attacks.
Right, this has been Masterclass here on your Superstation. We've been discussing first aid at the workplace. We will definitely continue this discussion next week. My name is Yao Banafo. I've been your host for today's show. Up next is the news at 2. Thank you for listening and see you same time next week.